Hello guys, welcome back to Lex Alexas. Today we start commencing my thoughts and my predictions for the Championship playoffs. I'm going to be predicting both Leg 1 games, Bristol City going up against Sheffield United and also Coventry against Sunderland. With it being real high stakes games, I'm going to take a deeper dive in both games to look at recent head-to-head histories, to look at playoff records, with those specific sides as well, players to look out for, potential starting 11s both sides can go for, what's their current injury crisis, if anything, from either of these clubs as well. We're going to do a real deep dive to see where each team is at, and after I take that deep dive, I'm going to end it off with predicting a score from their first leg game. I'm going to do this again in the weekend where we're going to predict leg 2, and we'll have a little bit of an insight to see where each team is at based on their first leg performance. So this is the real tail end of the championship season that we're waiting for here. If you guys like what we see, please smash the like button. It really does help. It really is massively appreciated, the support that I've got. If you can hit the subscribe button, that'd be amazing. We're so close to 3,000 subscribers. It'd be absolutely amazing if you can get there as soon as possible. And please share the channel too. All of that is free to do and it really helps. Without any further ado, let's start commencing my deep dive into the Championship 24-25 playoffs. We start off with the first game, which is Bristol City going up against Sheffield United. 6th place Bristol City against 3rd place Sheffield United. And what should certainly be presented to you is the stark contrast in points. It is certainly not beyond the realms of possibility where we could see one side score so many fewer points than their playoff rivals and defy the odds and to get a shot in the Premier League with a playoff final. So I'm certainly not going to write Bristol City off, but if we go into the game itself, and we need to remind ourselves what both these sides have in common here. So if we go by, let's go by their recent matches, just to remind ourselves what we have had with them here. So here we go here. We have had a 1-1 draw at Bramall Lane, but I'm more or less interested with their last game at Ashton Gate since that's where the first leg is being played. It was a 2-1 victory to Sheffield United. I seem to remember this being a midweek game, and I think I correctly predicted this initially. So a game that did not have a lot in it in the opening 60-70 minutes. When Anis Mehmeti scored from the penalty spot, that's really when the game started to open up. Sheffield United, they scored 2 late goals. One with the first goal, and then Harrison Burrows with a 98th minute winner, unbelievably. And I just want to check when the red card was. Yes, so Rob Dickey getting that red card, 95th, and 3 minutes later, Sheffield United smelled blood and they got the 3 points. That would be a big result for Sheffield United if they can get that now. Squads at the time, pretty strong from both. I mean, Harrison Burrows in that fullback position there has just been a sensation all season. He's certainly been one of the better players in that position all season. So you can see here very close, both averaging just over 1 on XG, both with 2 big chances. Total shots is 1 within it in favour of Bristol City, saves is 1 within it. Corner kicks slightly edges out with Sheffield United, and you can see overall not much separates these two sides at all. They really don't. So I do think this one is going to be a pretty close one. You can see here again, very close on the shots on target, both hitting the woodwork once as well. So whilst it took a little bit to get going, it did look like it did explode into life eventually within the last 15 minutes of that game. I am only bearing in mind their home result at the moment, but the importance of this game for Bristol City is really with the following here. If you look at their home form, Bristol City's home form is very, very, very strong. So in terms of the amount of points that they're picking up at home, you can see that Bristol City have picked up 46 points. They're the 4th best team when it comes to home form. And to add to that importance, their away form, I have to scroll down to find them, they are 14th place. So the importance of Bristol City picking up a win is important. But as you know, they did not win at home. They actually lost at home to Sheffield United. And in fact, the fact they've only lost 3 home games all season, and Sheffield United were one of the few sides who defeated Bristol City at Ashton Gate this season. They can take some decent amount of confidence for that. But one thing I'm seeing here, Sheffield United have got the 2nd best away record. Considerably Burnley have got the best. But Sheffield United have done well on their travels. So that is something that Bristol City will have to be mindful of. And therefore just adding to the importance of Bristol City being able to win this game as a whole. Right over here is what they deem to be a probable lineup for Bristol City and for Sheffield United's point of view, and I deem it to be a little bit interesting. So Bristol City's point of view: O'Leary, Viner, Dickey, Tanner, Hirakwa, Williams, Knight, McCrory, Bird, Twine and Naki Wells. Not too dissimilar to the team that we saw all the way back when they faced them in the fixture at the start of the season. Sheffield United, of course you've got Burrows there, Hamer, Peck there, Souza, Brereton, O'Hare, Campbell, Amadezovic, Robinson, Chowdhury. In terms of missing players, the big ones at the moment for Bristol City, I mean, Cameron Pring, he'd be hoping he can make a start. Mark Size and Luke McNanny, I don't think they're too bad of a loss for them there. Arblaster could be a bit of a shame for Sheffield United's point of view. He certainly has popped by with some brilliant performances for the Sheffield United side when they've needed him. I think Sariki and Sutar, I do think they can find players in their positions that can cover up for them. But you can see overall, this is really going to be a pretty tight game to predict. So as a prediction, this is not necessarily a straightforward game for me to predict here, but gut instinct is telling me we'll see some goals, and I'm just debating whether both teams are going to score. I think, based on how Bristol City have been pretty poor defensively quite recently, they should be working on to try and keep a clean sheet here, but that would be quite fearful for them to do against a Sheffield United side, which statistically wise they have been a bit more consistent for what Bristol City have been all season. I would be thinking Bristol City need to go all out to try and win this game, and to at least take something going into Bramall Lane and maybe trying to shut up shop there. I'm going to predict a draw. Wouldn't surprise me, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Bristol City. I just have a sneaky feeling they might pull something out the bag here. I really could be wrong, but if it wasn't 2-1, I'd have been thinking 1-0 Bristol City or a 1-1 draw. It is so close. So I do just give Bristol City the edge just from momentum's sake, their home record, and I do think they will be determined, and I think they can get a result. So I'm going to go for that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And the final game to predict is Coventry and Sunderland. And this is going to be played at the CBS Arena. They have played against each other pretty recently, these two, at the CBS Arena. It really does stick to my mind quite vividly because it was a 3-0 victory to Coventry. So Sunderland would not want a repeat of that fate. If we navigate to find Coventry and Sunderland, we have got to look at here in terms of their previous head-to-head records, because it is quite extraordinary to see how one-sided their head-to-head record has been in recent years or so. So if we go back to the Championship here and we go down to Coventry and Sunderland and we go to matches, so you can see here against Sunderland they have had no losses in 13. That is an insane stat favouring Coventry. Last time I actually believe Sunderland beat Coventry is back in around 2007. In fact, as a championship game goes, or a league tie goes, they have not been beaten for a long while. In fact, the last time they actually got a result against Coventry in a league game is back in 2000. And no lie, that is actually just over or just under 2 months after I was born. So that tells you how long it's been in a league game since Coventry have not been able to lose to Sunderland. So I'm sure they'll be feeling very, very confident going into this game. But the worst thing that they can do is be complacent. And I can think back to when Frank Lampard was Derby manager. He would have felt that he could have got something against Leeds United in the first leg, and ultimately they lost the home leg. Obviously, you knew about the drama was down to Derby turning it all around at Ellen Road. But Frank Lampard here, he needs to start off strong with this Coventry side, and I think it is a good time to play against the Sunderland side because we've seen how poor their form is. You can see here, look at that, 5 consecutive defeats, and it's one of those cases for Sunderland because they got the playoffs so early on. They have been toying around with their squad, and I just don't think it's the most ideal preparation for this Sunderland side. And you just start to forget how good Sunderland were right at the start of the season, because in the past couple of months they've just really not performed at all, not anywhere near the levels they were showing at the start of the season. So I am ever more pessimistic on Sunderland's chances simply because it has been a long time since I've been convinced with one of their performances. So you can't blame me for being a little bit apprehensive now going into this playoff game. If we just go into their recent encounter in March at the CBS, as I mentioned, it was Hadji Wright with the pen. And by direct contrast with the Bristol City and Sheffield United game, it looked like one-way traffic to me based on the momentum. I mean, 3 goals for Hadji Wright, what a game. But look at those stats here. You've got a 2.8 XG over a 0.4, 3 big chances to 0, 21 shots to 6. You wouldn't think that Coventry were behind Sunderland in the league and they were 7 points behind. The gap would have been even bigger going into this game as well. It was so one-sided and probably could have scored more goals. I mean, when you have 21 shots to 6, it is certainly just screaming a one-sided game, unfortunately. I do want to see something more from this Sunderland side because I know for a fact, I do remember very vividly how well they started this season. But if we get anything like what we have seen recently from Sunderland as of late, I do fear for them going into this game. Prediction-wise here, I do think Coventry are the overwhelming favourites because of the recent momentum. And that's been Coventry's biggest strength, their home form. It is the reason with Bristol City to why they are in the playoffs. Away form's not as strong for Coventry. And Sunderland, on the whole, have had okay away form. But then, obviously, as we know, their downturn in momentum is really causing me to not feel so confident in Sunderland's preparations for this game. Prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Coventry. Again, I do think we'll see goals. I do think it'll be a home win for both Bristol City and Coventry. It leaves the higher ranked sides, Sunderland and Sheffield United, with the pressure on making sure that they do something with their home game. That wraps up my Championship Leg 1 predictions. Certainly wasn't a perfect affair recording wise, but we managed to pull through and managed to get a video out of it. If you guys enjoyed, please smash the like button. It really does help the growth of this channel. It's massively appreciated. Please hit the subscribe button too, and please share the channel too. All three of these things are free to do, and they really help. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.